Here comes the train. Perfect timing. Hey guys, how's it going? Tua Cruz here with We're here with Tuan-chan, and today we're going to be testing out our new GoPro Hero 10 black camera, doing a full cycling vlog on my old bike commute. So my bike commute, it used to be 40 kilometers round trip. We're going to be testing out this camera to see how it performs, how the footage looks on my commute, and how long the battery tests. So for today's video, we're going to be filming in 4K 60 frames per second using the new natural color profile. I'm not going to be making any edits. I will be using a separate microphone, which I've got attached here, so we're using external audio, but for a quick test comparison, here's the natural GoPro audio, so you can tell there's a huge difference when we're using a dedicated mic. So for today's purposes, because I'll be talking a little bit, we'll be using this external microphone. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with today's ride.
Let's go!
Let's go. We're here over in Nagoya, Japan. You can see there's the city skyline right over there. We're gonna be cycling along the river pass and show you guys my old bike commuting path. All right, let's get started.
Let's go!
Let's go. Oh, double let's go today. So we're gonna start off by going out underneath this bridge here. That'll lead us to the cycling path. So we're gonna be riding east today from the center of Nagoya City. So an interesting thing in Japan is a lot of people, most people tend to live in apartments, and the insulation is really, really bad, especially the sound insulation. So people who practice instruments, they're usually not allowed to practice the instruments in their apartment. Even in our apartment, we have a rule saying that we're not allowed to play instruments. So it's actually written in the rules. So people like that will usually find places underneath bridges, underneath highways, where they'll practice their instruments. So that's a pretty common thing you'll see here. And this is by far the best time of year to go cycling in Japan, in my opinion. It's still short sleeve weather, and yeah, just beautiful fall air, nice crisp air, starting to get a little bit cooler, no humidity, and still a little bit warm out, but not too hot, not too cold, and really beautiful sights. Actually, I take it back. In another month or so, it's gonna get even more beautiful. So this entire period, the month of October going into November, just absolutely beautiful. So I was just out of the saddle there. How does the GoPro do with the stabilization there? I don't think it supports the horizon lock except in linear mode, so that's a little bit too narrow for cycling videos, I think. So we usually film in wide. I tend to think the super wide is a little too wide for me. It distorts the edges a little bit too much for my liking, so I usually like the wide profile here on the GoPro cameras. But let us know what you think. If you've watched our old bike commuting videos, they were all filmed on our old Hero 8. So today we're filming with the Hero 10, which should have a twice as powerful processor. And let's take a quick peek down here at the dog park. Oh man, it's the weekend today, so it's actually a Sunday, and COVID cases are down, vaccine rates are up, and people are out at the park today. There are so many dogs out here. And yeah, you see everyone's wearing masks. So generally when you're in crowded places, people here respect the rules. We're not wearing masks right now because we're kind of away from everyone and we're cycling, doing exercise. So, oh yeah, can't wait till we get a pet one day so we can come to the dog park.
Yeah?
Itsuka wanchan kaitai ne.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of dog do you want?
I like big.
Big dog?
Yeah?
Husky?
No.
No.
もっと小さい。
A little smaller?
Little small.
Oh, okay.
一緒に遊びでこう投げたら、
Play frisbee?
Yeah.
Catch ball?
Yeah?
Yeah. All right, so we're both dog people. Awesome. I've never seen the dog park this packed. That's really great to see. And yeah, just check this out. We just got random bikes parked up here. I think that's maybe people who biked over here. Probably not for the dog park, but you see, we've also got a bunch of different baseball fields here, different athletic facilities. So that's the other great thing about Japan is people tend to cycle everywhere. So even for general errands, for sports, for shopping, for going to work, people will use their bike as a method of transportation, which is really cool. So for anyone who's new to my channel, just in case there are some new viewers around, my name is Cruz. I'm an American living and working here in Japan for the last quite a few years. And I used to work for a bicycle distribution company over this way, and so this used to be my old bike commuting route. I live over on the east side of town, so it's about 20 kilometers away, and I used to ride over this way every day and back home, so 40-kilometer bike commute every day. And now I work for a different company that's nearby my home, and it's only like a few kilometers away. It only takes like 10 minutes to ride over there, so I've really missed this bike commute, and we wanted to go for a ride today. And the weather was too nice to pass up, so we decided to ride the river pass. And my wife, if you know my wife, she does not enjoy climbs. So she's really happy today that we're out here doing the flat route. That's an interesting game. Flip the cone. So also in today's ride, we're going to be riding with the sun for most of the part, but we'll be trying to change directions a little bit, showing different situations with the camera. So we filmed our first test video with the GoPro Hero 10 in some cloudy weather, and it performed like amazingly. I think it performed a lot better than our Hero 8 considering the cloudy weather. But in the sunny weather, you know GoPro is going to be a champ. So the other cool thing about the Hero 10 compared to the previous editions is the new natural color profile. And for the sake of like just testing and showing you guys how this camera is out of the box, we're going to be just using the natural colors today. Everything straight out of the box, no color editing. So we get a lot of questions asking how we make our videos look as good as they are. And for the most part, we do very little color editing. We usually use the GoPro settings out of the box. We used to use the GoPro more vivid colors, and we're going to test out this natural color profile a little bit and see which one we like. So let us know what you think in the comments. Do you like the more vivid colors, or do you like the natural look? So now we've got the backlighting and we've got a strong headwind. So let's switch back to the default GoPro audio right now. We're going away from the wind right now, so you should get some decent audio. We're on the chest mount, so I think we should be able to get like some clear sounding speaking with the default GoPro audio. And here we are. Let's switch back to the external microphone, which we use for all of our cycling vlogs. And I mean, I think the GoPros are making some big improvements with their onboard microphones, especially if you're just walking around. But for cycling, any types of action where you're at speed or dealing with wind, the quality is not even going to be remotely comparable to using the external audio. So I think we'll be sticking with this for the foreseeable future. And just in case, we get asked this a lot as well, we film our audio separately, so we don't plug in the microphone to the GoPro. We just sync it later in post. It's an extra step that we have to work on, but we don't mind that. All right, there's always a fun barbecue crew underneath this bridge on the weekends as well. Always looks like they have a fun time under there. Chun-chan's ready. She wants to go visit, crash that barbecue.
Yeah, good smell.
Good smell.
Meat smell.
Meat smell.
Yeah.
All right, and let's get some more angles with Chun-chan riding in front. So we're gonna push it a little bit hard today. Chun-chan ganbaru.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Chun rocket. Motto hayai pace today.
Okay.
But you do got to be careful on this path. Unfortunately, on the weekends, there's a lot more people out here, especially families, kids learning to ride their bikes out here, and a lot of fishermen, surprisingly. They want to get to their secret fishing spot, so they'll ride their bikes over here with all their equipment. So yeah, this is actually the second half of our ride. We rode over here for the first half, but I didn't want to start the video then because the GoPro videos tend to not look too great when you film directly into the sunlight for too long. So the whole way here, we had the sun in our faces, so decided to start the video from this direction So we get a bit of a tailwind and we get the sun at our backs. Perfect combo. But yeah, we got to enjoy these last few end of summer days, early fall, end of summer rides. Beautiful weather. I think today we're maxing at about 30 degrees Celsius, which actually feels like really cool now, which is strange to say because in the peak of summer in Japan, like 30 degrees Celsius is the low temperature. So for that to change to be the high temperature, oh, it's a big change. But coming from my hometown in Michigan, if I were to say like 30 degrees Celsius feels cool, yeah, that'd be pretty crazy. So I'm not sure what this is in Fahrenheit. I'll have to add the text here in post so you can see what that is if you don't know Celsius. I didn't know Celsius before I moved to Japan, and now I'm more familiar with Celsius than I am with Fahrenheit, just because I've been using it here for the last few years. So the other cool thing today is there's lots of baseball games going on. So in my old bike commuting videos, we never really saw any of these facilities in use because it's just weekday mornings and weekday afternoons. So it's pretty dead in the Japanese parks like this during that time of day because like everyone has work, everyone is going to school. But on the weekends, these places are pretty crowded. Lots of people out. So yeah, and usually with my, like always with my long cycling videos, I'm not going to talk for the entire video, so keep that in mind. I want to try and film the full ride so you can ride along on your trainer if you want, but there may be some moments of silence where I just enjoy the ride, enjoy the view. All right, let's take the lead for a little bit. Give Tunshan a little break. So up until this point, we've been on the protected bike path or pedestrian path. But just for a little bit up here, we're going to be merging onto one of the main car roads because this bike path comes to an end here, unfortunately. So we got to be careful at this intersection. All right, out of the saddle. How's the camera holding up? We're shaking the bike a little bit. Okay. So another tip, we get asked a lot like how we get the GoPro footage so smooth, and a big part of it is the stabilization in the camera, but the other big part of it is how you're riding. So where are you positioning the camera, and are you moving your body around a lot? So I tend to try and keep my core as still as possible since I'm using the chest mount. And that helps keep the footage as stable as possible. Oh man, the wind is changing direction. We're getting a bit of a crosswind now. So we might not get that nice tailwind all the way back. And here we are, we're at the merging point. So there's a couple different rivers here. This one is the Shonai River, and it's merging with the other river up here. This is the Yada River. So let's stop here real quick, show you guys the river. Okay, so here we are, let's take a quick look. Here's one of the rivers we're crossing. And yeah, definitely gonna miss this view. So we announced on the channel recently, we're gonna be leaving Japan next month. So we're getting in our last few rides here. And man, I can't remember just passing this every day, getting this nice view. And really glad we got some nice weather today, nice clear skies. Enjoying the beautiful sunset here. Okay, let's continue on. We're going to be turning left here. Tunchan's leading the way. So this is my alternative secret river path. Since there's so many rivers going this direction, there's actually a couple different varieties of paths that you can take over here. And yeah, just the vegetation is all nice and overgrown right now. This is before they start cutting everything. So always cool to see the different changes in the scenery over here. So you can also see this is the communal farming area. So I believe you can rent some of the space out here, get your own patch to grow whatever you want to grow over here. I'm not sure exactly who manages it. I think the local city hall center probably does. But yeah, always cool to see these areas. They usually have them here by the river pass, so you can see them on some of the other sections of the river trail here. All right, I'm gonna lead this section since I know this area a little bit better than Tunchan. And we're gonna be turning left here. Yeah, there's some burning smell going on here, so I think we're about to enter the burning season here where they start burning some of the crops. And I personally don't really like that smell, but Tung loves it because it reminds her of her hometown. She is more from the countryside kind of area, so she grew up with that smell around her, so it reminds her of home. Okay, so we're gonna have to detour through this little neighborhood here. So that's the one negative thing about the cycling paths here in Japan is they're not really designed for cyclists. They're not really designed to be connected with each other, so it's really random at times, unfortunately. So it's a bit of hit and miss, and you got to learn how some of the paths are connected. Otherwise you can get lost. And actually I haven't been over here in a long time, so there's a small chance I'd get lost here as well. All right, we'll go this way so we don't interfere with those kids playing over there. We can turn here instead. So we're going to pass under this bridge here. It's really nice once you know the network of roads to get where you want to go. Otherwise, you get stuck at a lot of stoplights, traffic lights. But once you know the secret passages, you can get to your locations like a lot quicker. All right, we're turning up here. This is an interesting little school here. So sometimes during my old commute, there'd be some kids walking across the street here and lots of cars. Really dangerous intersection. So it's not just the bikes, but a lot of the cars. Because Japanese roads are just stuck with like gridlock of traffic lights and red lights. So it's really difficult to find a road that isn't obstructed by red lights. And these river paths, so the big rivers, they usually have two sets of paths. They'll have the lower level path, which is used by cyclists and used by like walkers, but it's not necessarily designed for them. And if there's ever a flood, which is pretty often during the rainy season, those paths will get flooded over and they're not really maintained. They get dirty really easily. So that's the first level pass. And then the second level pass are these ones, which are above the embankment here. So this is the wall that prevents the flooding. And then they usually build a road along it. And then along this road, there's usually no red lights or stoplights or anything. So a lot of cars use it as their like speeding road. And yes, this road is two directional. So it looks like a one-way road, but actually you can go both ways. So it gets pretty nasty during the rush hour when there's lots of cars going both ways. So I usually don't like this road, but I use this road as an alternative on rainy days because this pavement, it's a lot cleaner. It doesn't get flooded over with sand and dirt and stuff like that. So it's a lot cleaner when you're riding in the rain. But the path down below, because it gets flooded, all the nasty sand and dirt and everything just destroys your bike. So I found this path by luck when I was looking for alternatives to not get my bike and clothes completely destroyed during the rainy season. And it's not too bad. Right now you can see there's not too many cars up here. The path on the other side, there's a lot more cars, but I think this one has a few more blockades that makes it difficult for the cars to go too far. All right, we're gonna sneak down the underpassage here. This way we don't have to stop. How's the GoPro doing with the change in the lighting? So it just went through the tunnel, now we're in the shade. How's it adapting to the lighting changes? And if we're lucky, by the end of today's ride, it'll start to get pretty dark, so we can get some good tests of the low light performance of the GoPro as well. So it's a weird road here. You see there's cars using it, there's just normal people using it, we're using it, but it's like a single lane road that is used by everyone in every direction. No luck with the train timing today. Oh, there it goes. Let's slow down a little bit. Here comes the train. Perfect timing. Out of saddle. So another thing I was concerned about with this camera was just reports of like overheating. So lots of people on YouTube have been doing tests where they put the GoPro on like a table and then they just set it on record and then the camera will shut down from overheating. So I was actually pretty worried before I bought this camera because I didn't want to I film lots of long videos with these cycling vlogs and I didn't want to buy a camera that was gonna shut down mid-ride for no reason. But supposedly those tests don't really capture the full picture because in a real world situation, you're gonna have the legs opened down below in the bottom and you're gonna have wind. So yeah, you're gonna have the legs open down at the bottom. You're gonna have wind and everything to help keep the GoPro cooler so that it doesn't overheat. And so far, I've been doing multiple tests, like using the full battery, getting about 40 minutes. And so the camera's dying just from battery loss, not from actually overheating. So fortunately for my usage, like with cycling, I haven't had any issues, but maybe that'll be different in the summer weather when it's extremely hot, extremely humid, and not so much wind. So at least for this weather, it seems to be holding up pretty well. So that's good. Okay, we're gonna drop down here, and unfortunately this path gets a little bit rough for just this section, so we got some gravel. See my second. So this is what I meant by the paths here aren't really designed for cyclists. They're not really designed for them to be used by everyone. And unfortunately, they don't make them very accessible. But once you're down here, it's pretty nice. So as long as there's no flooding recently, you'll have some nice clear paths. But yeah, avoid them on the weekends. Because on the weekends, there's gonna be lots of people out running, out walking their dogs. And some sections of the path, like the one back there, is just really narrow. And with the overgrown grass, it's really hard to pass. So you got to be pretty careful in this section. But it's a mixed bag. Some paths are really wide, some paths are really narrow. Unfortunately, this section here is a little bit narrow, but it beats riding up there on the higher roads with this just full of cars, full of red lights, and yeah, just a bit safer down here. You do see there's quite a bit of sand though still on the course, so you got to be aware of that. Luckily, we're going to get off here pretty soon. But yeah, unfortunately, they don't really cut this grass very often. So normally people would just play on the grass, but the grass is too thick and too high for people to really use it right now. But yeah, lots of people over in this section, geez. And yeah, if people walk side by side, they basically block the whole path, unfortunately. So just go nice and slow. And we'll be getting off here pretty soon. So far, the current GoPro is holding up on this current charge. I'll let you guys know when we have to change battery so you can get a good idea of how long the camera works on one charge. So the batteries are quite a bit bigger than the GoPro 8 batteries, but at the same time, they don't really last much longer, unfortunately. Yeah, the other annoying thing about these paths is there's no like proper etiquette that people follow. So normally on the roads here in Japan, when you're driving, you should drive on the left hand of the road. And so that goes for both directions. So you know to stay on the left. If they're coming from the opposite side, they should stay on the left. But walkers and runners, they don't seem to follow like a set pattern. Like some people will walk on the left and some people will walk on the right. So it's a chaotic mix of craziness. Yeah, coming down here today was actually a bad choice. I haven't been down here in a while, so oh well, lesson learned. Luckily, we're coming on the exit of this strip here pretty soon, so we'll get back up to the main roads. And yeah, quite a few bugs out today, geez. So let's turn left up here. Let's get off this path. We can exit up here, cross the bridge up there. All right, trying to get to the exit here. There's just way too many people out here, unfortunately. And yeah, like I mentioned before, the paths, we can't really call them cycling paths because they're not designed for cycling. And yeah, so runners use them, walkers use them, dog walkers will use them. And that's generally the category you have to be most careful about is the dog walkers, because they can go in just about any direction and stop or change suddenly depending on what their dog wants to do. There we go, we got another little rough patch here. So I generally would only do this path when I was on my cross bike or mountain bike, just because of all the rough terrain. Luckily I'm on solid tires right now, which are puncture proof. So a lesson learned in Japan on the weekends, these kinds of places get really busy. Downtown also gets really busy, and even the countryside also gets busy. So unfortunately that's the time that everyone has off to ride, so it's going to be a little bit more busy no matter where you go. All right, let's cross this bridge. This is a little bit narrow, but you get used to the narrow paths here in Japan. So yeah, if I take riding around a bunch of pedestrians versus like riding around a bunch of cars, I'll probably take the pedestrians unless I want to go like really fast. Okay, we're gonna cross here. Gotta be careful. Everyone's waiting to turn at those lights and there's limited visibility. So we're back to the other side, our normal path. This one's a lot cleaner, a lot wider, and usually a lot safer, so I generally will ride this path instead. But we wanted to show you guys the other path today. Haven't been over there in a long time, and it's nice to ride on some familiar territory. Let's ask Tunshan how she's doing. Tsukareta?
No.
No? Oh, mada ganbareru?
Yeah.
Yeah?
But a little hungry.
A little tired.
No, hungry.
Hungry?
Yeah.
Oh, me too. What are we gonna eat tonight?
I don't know. Japanese food.
Japanese food?
Yeah.
You're gonna make it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, delicious food?
Yeah.
Yes? All right, looking forward to it. Yeah, lots of little dogs here in Japan. And yeah, also not too many places where people can take their dogs for walks, so lots of people will bring them to these little river paths or to those dog parks if they're lucky to have a dog park nearby them. All right, starting to get a little bit darker now, so hopefully the GoPro is still holding up well. We're gonna drop down here.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I wish they wouldn't just stand at the bottom of the ramp right there. But I won't complain, that was a cute dog. Lots of dogs out today. Kyo wanchan oi na.
Yeah. Weekend.
Weekend.
Today weekend.
Today's the weekend.
Yeah.
So lots of people walking their dogs. Yeah.
Someday you do
Uh-huh.
this. You will
Uh-huh.
sample with dog.
Walk.
Walk.
Uh.
Walk with dog.
Someday. Moika.
Someday we will. Someday we will walk with dog.
Oh, looking forward to that day. 楽しみだ.
Not now.
Husky. Husky, 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 husky.
Special word.
Husky.
I know. Big
Big.
dog.
Fun.
Fun.
Happy.
Strong.
Strong.
Fast.
Fast.
Cool.
Cool. Yes,
You
husky.
too.
Yes.
You with dog.
Yes. Same. We are the
Same.
same. Long hair, cool, strong, cool.
No. I don't want married with dog. You same dog.
Oh,
You said you same dog.
it's okay. It's okay. Okay, unfortunately, we reached the limit of one battery on the GoPro Hero 10 Black. So whatever time we were at now, plus about 1 or 2 minutes, and that's about the limit of one battery on this. We filmed continuously for pretty much the whole ride. And here we are, we switched on to a different battery. We're here at, they call this the cycling road, but it's a really bad cycling road. You can see there's just a bunch of different bumps here. So cycling road in Japan usually means just like a path that you can do casual cycling. And usually there's more walkers and dog walkers and runners than there are cyclists. But anyway, it's starting to get a little bit darker out, so I want to continue on this ride a little bit just to test the GoPro into the darker settings so you can see the sun setting off in the distance, and we'll see how this performs for the rest of our ride. All right, so let's go.
Let's go.
So the nice thing about this path is you do get some nicer views of the river, and you're completely protected away from the cars and everything. The downside though is there usually are a lot of people on this path. It's really bumpy, as you can see, so the actual car path down below is quite a bit smoother. But if you're going at a slow pace, you want extra protection, this is a nice place to ride. This blue sign, by the way, means that it's a shared path between pedestrians and cyclists. So you'll see that sign a lot in Japan, because technically cyclists aren't allowed to ride on sidewalks unless that sign is specifically there. So always keep an eye out for that, but generally the police aren't too strict about that, because there's people riding on sidewalks just about everywhere in Japan. The only exception though, I think, is for young children and more elderly people. They can ride on pretty much any sidewalk. So here we go. We're not the only cyclists out on the path right now. Oh man, look at this little dog. Look at this little guy. Oh, he's all excited to go to the bathroom. Yeah, people in Japan love their tiny little dogs. They actually have a different name for those kinds of dogs here. So normally a dog is called inu in Japan, but most people will say wanchan, because wan is like the sound. In Japanese, it's the sound that dogs make. And chan is just like a cute suffix for the name. So it usually implies like a cute little dog. I don't think they use wanchan to describe like the larger dogs. You got the last beams of sun peeking through. How's the GoPro holding up? How's the stabilization doing? Should still be all right now. But I am curious to see the low light performance on this. So I hope it gets dark pretty soon, so we can include that in today's video. But yeah, some other notes, I guess we'll talk about what's going on with our lives in our current situation. We just uploaded a video recently talking about our plans for moving to Chiang Mai, Thailand. So if you haven't checked out that video, go check it out. But that's our plan. We're planning to head to either Phuket or Bangkok first, depending on the quarantine rules, and then we're going to be heading to Chiang Mai. And we're hoping to stay there for a couple months, at least 3 months or so, possibly longer if we're able to and things go smoothly. So we're thinking about getting some new road bikes while we're there and bringing some folding bikes over there. So if you have any suggestions, if you've ever ridden bikes or been to Chiang Mai before, you have any good recommendations for us, let us know in the comments. It's a whole new area for us and we're really nervous about the move, but hopefully everything will go smoothly. And we're slowly making the preparations right now, cleaning up our apartment, getting rid of stuff we don't need, and trying to get our entire life down into one suitcase and one backpack, which is quite difficult. We've accumulated a lot of different things here in Japan over the last few years, so it's really hard to just limit that down to one suitcase and one backpack each. Especially with all the camera equipment and bike equipment we need. So yeah, we're trying to just bring the folding bikes, not too many tools, and we've got our iPads, our computers. I'm not sure if we want to bring both, and then we also have all our cameras, our action cameras, so we're trying to limit those down as well to just what we need, the bare essentials, so we can keep filming these videos for you guys. So these will sadly be some of our last few rides on our current road bikes. We're probably going to have to get rid of these pretty soon. I don't want to wait until the last minute just in case like we can't find a buyer and there's so many other things that we need to worry about. So unfortunately, we're gonna probably have to take a break from our long cycling rides pretty soon. Maybe we'll switch over to running for a little bit, get some good cross training in. I wanna try and build up our endurance before we start our trip, so we're just in the good groove, good habits, and trying to start working out every day. I really miss having this long bike commute every day. This was like an automatic workout, just biking to work, and that counted as my workout. But lately, my bike to work is only about like 10 minutes or so, so yeah, I don't get any workout in from that. It's a really weird feeling when you go from being like a daily long distance bike commuter and then you don't have that daily part of your routine anymore. Some more little guys. Still a decent amount of daylight out, but gradually getting darker. Back on some main roads now. Actually, let's turn here. Let's avoid that main road for just a little bit longer. Ah, that's something we got to get before we leave. Some ankake pasta. That's like the local type of pasta here in Nagoya. Really popular, and I don't think we'll be able to get that once we leave Japan. It's not a really popular dish outside of Japan. So yeah, we definitely got to get some ankake pasta. I'm not even sure the right way to describe it, but yeah, it's really good. Get across here, onto the back alley. GoPro still holding up okay. And let's turn left over here. We're gonna be cycling into our last subway stop here. So if we were to take the train, this would be how we would get back. So our last little busy area before we head home. Little uphill here. Some of the lights are starting to turn on in the side businesses, so it's starting to get a little bit darker. Any of you guys want to point out what car this is? So those scramble crosswalks are actually pretty common here in Japan. It's nice. It keeps the intersections a lot safer, I think. Oh, it smells like ramen over here. We got the ramen shops. And we got our local Starbucks. Oh, they got a sweet potato frappuccino right now. That sounds so good. I might have to get that. We don't actually go out to eat very often at all because my wife is such a good cook. She cooks at home most days, so we usually save our money. All right, we're in the home stretch. This is the parking yard for the end of the subway line, so a lot of the tracks will rest here at night. Also got lots of bike parking here on the side, which technically you need to pay for, so it's usually like $1 a day. So if you ride your bike from home to the train station, then take the train into work, you gotta pay for the train and you gotta pay for the bike parking. I try to avoid that as much as I can. You can always find a cheap place to park or free place to park if you know where to look. This is another one of those really narrow, kind of dangerous roads. And these are the ones you got to be really careful about because most of the cars coming through here, they don't live here. They're trying to use it as like a shortcut to avoid some lights. Lots of apartments over this way. Okay guys, we're gonna finish up today's ride here. We had a nice fun ride today. Let us know what you guys think of the new GoPro Hero 10. How does the video look? How does it compare to our previous videos? And also let us know what you guys think of my old bike commuting path. So we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. A special thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. Thanks to your guys' support, we're able to continue making more videos like this. We really appreciate it. And also a special thank you to our clothing sponsor, Santic. Go check out their website below so you can get some of the same kits that we're wearing in our rides. That's it for today's video, guys. Thanks as always, and we'll see you next time. Jeez. We'll see you next time here on Two Wheel Cruise.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.